all series long. And here in Game 5, he's going to look to take his team to the next stage as we head on to the Rift. Game 5, Frank versus CFO. Winner moves on to probably face PSG. What a reward.
Yeah, and I believe the losers against DCG as well, so definitely, I mean, you definitely want to win regardless. You get that sort of second life, and with how these teams have been playing, especially in their wins, they look like they do have the capability of perhaps taking games, even a series perhaps, off PSG, but first you got to get through each other. We're here on the Rift in our game number 5, and honestly, I'm looking for excitement here, and do we not have the draft for it?
Certainly do. Double overheal is picked up by the side of Frank Esports. You normally see the Yones these days just build Shieldbow BT IE. That's kind of the build. You can delay that IE for other items if you need to, but that's kind of what we're going for. And obviously does make use of the fact that both Overheal and Bloodthirster are quite overtuned at the moment, so can make quite a lot of use out of that. Be interesting to see what build the Mordekaiser ends up going for, because I think there's a variety of different builds you see on Mord. And we'll have to see which one he goes for this game. Slater was actually looking for that hook into the Dragon Pit there, but unfortunately for him, Frank Esports did start in lane here. And it will just be Hollow and Gemini both solo starting. Wards come out nice and early. Just try and get some control of this lane. And Pretender, he is going to get shoved in early, as is the life of a Yone. He does just get kind of bullied in a lot of these lanes, but scales very well to make up for it. See, got our 3-lane setup here. Jimmy, and he's trying to fish for something, but can't quite find it. Frank bot lane is also managing to build up the wave, which can be pretty useful to avoid getting hooked by the Blitzcrank. Then on top lane, looks for now at least that Solo Kill is getting some solid trades. Just getting that wave kind of pushing, has that minion advantage to himself. Pretender though, he's taking a little bit of damage. Has that Doran Shield plus, I would assume the second wind. Didn't actually check, but would be expected in this sort of matchup. So hold on.
Yeah, definitely. And we don't see the Arcane Comet as well on Sion this game. Melee versus melee. He has opted for that Grasp of the Undying. Conqueror for rest is Gemini now looking early into the top lane. Will likely be spot on this ward, and he is. So Solo Kill now has the job of trying to get away. Is actually pulled in by that grab from Rest. Is able to flash away, but again we see Solo Kill losing his flash early as Sion in this top lane.
Oh, maybe looking for something mid. Jimmy and is forced to dash away. But yeah, Solo Kill losing his flash. I mean, admittedly, started a Sion game 0-2 earlier in the series and still found lots of impact. So certainly not a situation he's unfamiliar with. And there, Kaiwing, you know, with that bot priority, able to move mid, relieve a little bit of pressure, which I think is very important. Stop LeBlanc from just being able to pressure on cooldown. Give Pretender a bit of room to breathe. Gemini, the sweeper, it does miss the Maokai. And I think junglers will spot each other out here. Like that bush does get warded. Will anything be looked at mid? I'd be kind of surprised. But Jimmy are not able to play aggressive just with constant people moving through his lane. I think that's definitely something that favors Frank Esports.
Yeah, definitely. So well played early here by both Kaiwing and Hollow to give some protection to Pretender to be able to get some farm under his belt and not just lose lane directly to this LeBlanc, as Hollow actually picks up both Scuttle Crabs. So nice work by him to give some control over the river. Makes the job of Gemini a lot harder as we progress through. And we do see Dragon spawning in 30 seconds. I don't think either of these teams really particularly want to do that this early. I mean, kind of a lot of scaling coming out, especially from the side of Frank.
Ooh, okay, gets cancelled. Rest can deal quite a little bit of damage here. Without that flash on Sion, if he can, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything before he hits 6, unfortunately. So most likely it will just be the base that comes through from Solo Kills. We get a nice little insight to the coaching staff there. A little cam view. Now, this is bot priority here for CFO. And actually, it is the CFO Classic starting the Dragon at 5 minutes. Gemini is already on it. In fact, it's already almost at half HP.
It looks like they will be able to pick this up. Hollow just in the mid lane here, maybe helping Pretender to sort of push this wave in, clear some vision, and they are going down there, but it is going to be too little too late as first Dragon picked up at 5 minutes from CFO, and they might be looking to get their fastest Dragon Soul yet.
Yeah, it certainly could be. I think if you turn nameplates off, I could still tell you that it was CFO, the ones that were starting that Dragon at 5 minutes. So they get their first one. And it's really nice because it means that it's not going to be a Herald for Dragon trade later on.
Oh, Hook does land here, and Hollow's in a bit of a predicament. Is he able to get away to the lands? And he is, so is going to be okay for now. And with that Hook, Slaytrue honestly has almost no mana left, so going to be a lot harder for him in this lane for the moment.
Nice there, I think, by Hollow to make sure to save that flash. You know, it's very tempting to immediately flash the wall, but most likely it would have been flashed after. And Solico, he's looking for a gank bot. Maybe he's just going to ult through the lane. Has TP to return top, but has to commit to something pretty soon. I'm not sure how well this works. I mean, they're maybe going to play for a 4-man. Hollow's in the area.
Yeah, looks like it, and there is no jungler available. Gemini up in the top side. What is Solico going to look for? He's walking through...
Yeah, he's going to ult through lane.
Yeah, here we go. As Hollow's walking up there now. Doesn't have Nature's Grasp available, importantly. Is going to look... There is a teleport coming in from Rest, but it is going to be First Blood given over to Eminem onto Slaytrue. With Rest arriving now, there's not much for him to do. And honestly, Solokill can now teleport back up to top lane and have priority on his own lane.
Yeah, really, really nice play there from the whole of Frank Esports. Just set that play up. I mean, it has to be quite well coordinated, but they managed to get the jungler down there. They get Solokill to use his TP, or sorry, to come bot with his ulti and then TP back up. So really, really well played there from the side of Frank, and it goes to exactly who you want. Eminem is the one that picks up that first blood, and he needs to get pretty fed if he's going to be able to survive up against, you know, the Vi LeBlanc.
If he does, and in this game in particular, you almost feel like he has to pay the Mordekaiser tax and get a QSS at some point too. Preferably before sort of any of these 5v5 start to come and happen. So even more gold needed for that to delay power spikes on this Aphelios. But First Blood is a massive pickup for him, as well as he is now at a CS advantage, although this top wave will likely go to Shun and he'll be okay.
Is Herald spawning now? And the lane assignments have pretty much just swapped as a result. I think Shun might just stay top. And I think maybe CFO can start to play for this. They do have a lot of members around mid. Pretender, he has to be quite careful here.
Oh, Slaytrue just not quite getting the timing right on that knock-up, and Pretender will be able to get away with that Yone ult. However, it is Rift Herald now that will likely go to the side of CFO, so picking up both early objectives. A couple of tower plates, however, picked up by Eminem, so nice gold injection onto him in return.
Okay, so it is CFO that end up picking this up. Like you said, wait, don't forget the Herald. Okay, he wants to give it to Shun.
I wonder... Alright, anyway, they've done that, but...
I think probably just wants to make sure that even if Shun can't be nearby, he's the one that picks up the gold. So I think that's pretty important. Sometimes we've seen the junglers just be the ones that end up getting the gold because no one can get close to the tower. I think this does avoid that. And there was quite a lot of gold traded back on the bot side for Eminem. You know, managed to get, I think, 1, maybe 2 plates out of that. I think it was just 1. It was already 1 down previously. So it's a nice trade back. We'll see what actually gets done with this Herald. Obviously, there aren't very heraldable lanes. Not a whole lot has happened. I mean, maybe mid could be the play. It's already down to 4 plates. LeBlanc is able to damage it at least a little bit in this matchup. There's a lot of pings kind of coming out on mid, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Herald drop there a bit later on. This Blitz, Slaytrue, it's going to enter the river, kind of regain that control, and second Dragon spawning in 50 seconds. I think CFO, they should look to keep playing for that. Especially with this mid priority that Jimmy's providing. It's very, very difficult for Pretender to walk up to the lane. Can just at any time get ganked by the Blitz and the Vi. You have to have so much knowledge of where they are, and it kind of makes you think, you know, why was its Yone blind pick? Because it's got a bad matchup. Feel like it's not that great against the comp. Maybe it was just to enable Maokai, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, perhaps, but Have to see. Maybe they can make it work more as this game progresses. Solo kill now. Ult back up, headed back to the bot lane, but smartly Gemini is going to match it this time, so won't really be plausible to look for that dive. However, it does mean that with the 5 members strong Frank, they should have priority and ultimately be able to secure the second dragon, allow Eminem to scale for just that bit longer, but the payoff is Resh getting a lot of time by himself up in this top lane. We'll be able to collect some plates, a lot of farm, and he's going to be really, really hard to deal with, especially for solo kill.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like this play or not from solo kill. I mean, picking up the dragon is really nice. Stops that CFO win condition, allows you some time to scale, but you lost so much gold top. I think you lost like 3 plates, maybe? I feel like that was so huge. I mean, now taking a look at the top gap, it's like 30 CS here, a bunch of plates, level 9 versus level 8. I feel like it's very, very hard for solo kill to contest anything in the side lane. It's always just going to be the second one to move to fights for the rest of the game. And again, not really what you'd expect out of solo kill, right? He typically tends to play for his lane. Obviously, you know, has found lots of impact for his team before, but hard sacking the lane doesn't seem very like him.
Definitely not, as we see Herald now use bot. Shun should be careful, doesn't know that Hollow's around, and is going to smartly back away and just be okay with those turret plates gifted from the Herald.
It's going to back off.
Solo kill looking like he got a pretty nice trade there in the top lane. And honestly, while the Scion will be weaker in the 1v1, if he is able to get to the team fights, and with that ultimate as well as teleport, he will still be able to serve his purpose. Just the isolated 1v1 is going to be incredibly difficult for him for the rest of this game.
Oh, Hook almost goes on a Kai Wing. And time again, Slater is just fishing with this. Knows if it hits, then lots of stuff will unfold as a result. Gemini goes for the Chempunk chainsaw, I think that's what it's called.
Is, yeah.
So we haven't seen that in a while because the Black Cleaver build did become more popular. But I think there's a pretty good argument for it this game. There's a lot of healing, especially out of Frank's mid and AD. Does make sense, I think, to pick it up. Although it's not the easiest to apply for Revive. Yeah, he's making this work.
Yeah, definitely. And Solo kill having to recall now. I wonder if he'll use that ult to get back to lane or if he'll teleport. It is only 1 minute until Unleash teleports, so probably a good argument to not use it at this stage. And as he is walking back up there, you do expect him to perhaps ult to try and save at least one of these tower plates from going down.
Well, now, on the other side of the map, though, Eminem, he's getting some time with this play. He manages to get 1. Can he go for 2? Has the Thresh Lantern in his back pocket. He's actually able to just grab 2 plates just like that. There's a lot of gold going over to him. Although he's on a ward, so he's spotted out.
Okay, and we see Juxo now completed for solo kills, so especially in these team fights, he's going to be able to offer a lot more sort of sustained tankiness, and that's pretty much all you want from the Scion in this game. I wonder who the main target for this Mordekai's ult will be. You have to feel like, at least until QSS is picked up, it should be the Aphelios, because, I mean, especially once Yone starts to get some of these items completed, he will pretty much just take down the Mordekaiser. As we take a look at turret plates, huge lead there for the side of CFO.
There's a lot of gold picked up, and I think with the Mordekaiser ult, while Aphelios probably should be the target, it's whether or not you can actually reach him, right? Has the Flash Ghost as well as the Thresh Lantern. Might need to commit a flash of your own. It should be worth it. Well, we will see as the second dragon will be spawning in just a minute from now. You have to feel that both teams will want to contest this, and both tops have TP up as well. I wouldn't be too surprised to see CFO give this one over, though, and just secure that top tier 1 as well as the Herald. Because while it would be the second drag given over, it would be for a pretty significant gold injection on the other side of the map. Rest. You know, he certainly would benefit from having all that gold. Now, TP comes in from Jimmy, so definitely playing around this kind of mid-top side here. Tend has to be quite careful. Is spotted out on a ward and can get engaged on very easily. Ooh, Hook actually connects.
Yeah, it does connect, and it will be Kaiwing getting extremely low here, but Shun on the other hand is going to be chased down by the Maokai. Does go down. It's a 2-for-1 trade. 2 kills onto Pretender, and he's showing us why he picked Yone.
Pretender, massive play off the back end, maybe re-engage.
Solo kill going in, Death Realm still available for the Maokai, who will... the Mordekaiser will be used onto solo kill, but when he comes out, there's going to be a 3-strong team of Frank to deal with him. Doesn't manage to kill solo kill and will have to flash over the wall. Does for now escape at least, and it will just be the 2-for-1. But again, a massive gold injection for Pretender as Jimmy almost finds Hollow on the back end of that fight.
It was so close, and I think it's very important that Frank managed to win this fight without Pretender even having his mythic. And also, really nice flash from Pretender, managed to pick up a 2nd kill in there. We'll kind of see, it looks like the fight, I guess, started with this blitz hook onto the Thresh. Have a look, yeah, okay, so the problem was this hook was traded early, but there wasn't really any follow-up. It was just damage coming from Zeri, and Kaiwing bought a lot of time. Pay attention to the Yone here. Takes out the Zeri, goes for the flash Q as well. Gets 2 very early. And from then on, I mean, Resty bought himself a little bit of time with this ulti. And the re-engage from the Sion, right, obviously is very far behind in the 1v1, but this is no 1v1 at all. And Sion remains very strong in any of these sorts of fights. I think Rest, so tanky at the end. Does manage to flash out, but a lot of stuff burned as we now head towards another pause.
Yeah, pause number 7. I think it might be 6, but yeah, we see on our screens, obviously, Gemini looking to start up this Rift Herald. It doesn't seem like it will be answered by Frank, instead rather going for that Cloud Dragon to build up towards the Cloud Soul. But now we're at this stage of the game. We saw it in game number 1 as well. We have Demonic Embrace available on the Maokai, and that makes it so much harder to play around these objectives, particularly the Dragon as it spawns. We do have another internet issue at the studio, unfortunately, but I'm sure that'll be resolved quickly and we'll be back into game. But how are you feeling so far? Who are you sort of favoring as this game progresses?
I don't even know at this point. I feel like this game is so insane. I want to say, based off what just happened, it might actually be better for the side of CFO. Even though they ended up losing the fight, they're getting the Herald and they got the top tier 1 already. So it's a pretty good gold injection off the back of it. I think they can Herald mid too, because LeBlanc already got a lot of plates early. So while it should be Frank picking up that 2nd drag, I think that CFO can kind of slingshot themselves a little further ahead here. But I mean, as you saw in that fight, right, the fights can be very close. So it's still anyone's game at this point.
It definitely is, and I think, although you say that, the Yone not having his Mythic, as you pointed out earlier, and picking up 2 kills is actually massive for this side of Frank. I mean, after that, it's going to be very hard for Mordekaiser to ever think of Yone as a target specifically, and Eminem is just being able to sort of scale into this late game Aphelios that has really shown so much promise in many other series before, or games before, shall I say. And as well on the other side of CFO, Zeri doesn't seem as strong without that Lulu, especially in the later stages of the game. Just more vulnerable, easier to pick off, and although like usually it's answered by a Vi, it isn't in this game, but you're seeing the Maokai be used sort of how the Vi generally is, and just following her with that twisted advance to be able to lock her down. And I think because of that, mainly maybe the Lulu thing, if this game does sort of be allowed to scale out and get further and further along, I do tend to like Frank, and I feel like they have the ability to do that now.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, I think there are solid win conditions for both teams, honestly, so we'll just have to see how it unfolds throughout the rest of the game. Now, the Dragon win condition is pretty interesting, because I think 2 drags will be picked up here by Frank. And, earlier on in the series, we were kind of saying how important Dragon was for CFO, but I believe in their first win, they got the Drag Soul. Second win, though, they actually didn't. It was 3 drags to 3. And they actually gave up a lot of Dragons early on in that game. So they're probably feeling pretty confident that they can win without it. Perhaps they've developed more since the end of the split. And I think they've definitely shown us some better team fighting here.
Is that the arm of Eminem in the background?
I'm not sure, but we are returning the game.
Yeah, we see the Rift Herald secured for CFO and the Dragon secured for Frank. As we said, going into that. Now, where do you go from here? It looks like, I mean, Yone, how can you answer Yone as a split push at the moment? It feels like LeBlanc won't quite be strong enough to deal with him. I mean, maybe you can work away at him bit by bit.
Yeah, definitely I don't think LeBlanc can really win the 1v1. I don't think she wins short or long trades, and that sustain makes it so difficult. She still has a lot of gank set up though, and it looks like we'll be paired the Yone up against the Mord instead. And I think Rest still has potential. Ooh, a lot of damage. Kaiwing.
Yeah, forcing
did
flash.
Have to flash. Interesting. Okay. So won't have flash for quite a while, and that's pretty problematic, I think, because you know that does remove any sort of flash lantern play or even a flash flay, as well as just being vulnerable up against Slaytrue's Blitzcrank. Does kind of give you a few more options here. Ward will come out, and I think this should be the mid tower heralded, and you'd have to feel like it's not too long for this world. Although someone's very close to the tower, I'm not sure. It's going to feel like it's going to take quite a bit of damage. Okay, actually don't get onto it. So it does manage to hit the tower. It goes very, very low, and that should fall probably on a few more waves. And now worth noting is that while Pretender got 2 kills for himself, he's down a significant amount of CS to Pretender. Or sorry, to Jimmy, and I think Jimmy might actually be ahead in gold. Kind of hard to tell, but it's pretty similar. Really paying for that Yone blind pick. Now we see a lot of members grouped around mid. We might actually see a fight break out.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Hook
so
does just
close.
go wide, but solo kill now being dragged in by Rest is able to find a little bit of return damage, but ultimately not much to be said there. As Jimmy heads back top to clear out that wave, and priority over this river is in favor of CFO, but you don't really expect them to be looking for a 20-minute Baron in a minute's time.
You would be surprised, right? But I suppose they could do it if they get kills. Mid-wave will be pushed. Ooh.
Oh,
That ult almost came out.
Yeah, that
It
was
was very
extremely close.
Yeah.
But does manage to get out here, and minion wave was mostly cleared actually by Pretender before getting out. So again, this mid tower will survive just that little bit longer. Look how many zombie wards there are across this mid wave, though. So much priority given to CFO and just clearing out vision, gaining vision for themselves, and there really is like 6 zombie wards as we see. Hook does miss again, only just.
I think if one of these hooks hits on the Kaiwing, he just instantly dies. But for now, is managing to avoid them. CFO, though, they're looking better and better. They've taken a lot of gold on this map. They're pushing in the waves, pressuring these towers pretty significantly.
Yeah.
A lot of it will come down to this next Dragon fight, though. Does Dragon become a realistic win condition for Frank? In 2 minutes, if they pick this up, it probably does. But are they going to win this fight? I mean, I feel like it's still so close between both teams.
Yeah, Bloodthirster importantly picked up by Eminem now, so just that much more survivability, which is going to be so important against the likes of LeBlanc and Vi. Obviously, before these objectives, you're likely to see this LeBlanc W in QR, the Aphelios, but with Bloodthirster can kind of negate that sort of better than any other item. Ooh, Pretender looking for Jimmy and potentially here.
Yeah, and he's
Hollow
careful,
also
though.
up there.
Oh, Jimmy and
Does W forward. This is a potential angle now. Uses Q. This is probably the time to look.
Oh,
So
Jimmy.
Pretender looking. W will be used here. Does look like he'll get away okay. In 1 minute time, Dragon will respawn, and you'd have to feel like both teams are going to start heading towards that objective as Gemini taking away Raptors for himself.
And mid tower, it remains now, which I think is pretty important for Frank wanting to contest these drags. Having this kind of fallback point is extremely important. Solo, he's getting chased down, might get engaged on.
Couple saplings in that bush should be okay.
Yeah, wow. I mean, there's a lot of kind of looking, but it never really turns into anything. 30 seconds, though, on the drag, and I feel like that's when all the action is finally going to unfold. Resets have come through. Everyone is basically as strong as they can be in this fight. There's a lot of pings towards topside. I mean, maybe there's some sort of trade going on, or they just want to take away a little bit of vision. Frank, they need to be careful how many members they commit, though, Hollow. Is pretty tanky, so won't be engaged on. Is just all health, though. Doesn't have any resistances really to back it up.
Ooh, hook doesn't quite land, but I think importantly, knowing that this dragon's alive and you haven't had any time to set up as Maokai with those saplings is problematic, as well as Nature's Grasp now being used. Ooh, we do see a potential trade here on the top. Flash away from the cease and desist will not work. It looks like Pretender will be going down. Can he find a trade back though? Does manage to find one. So another 2v1 in this series, and Pretender manages to find one.
It's pretty big. I think that at least delays the dragon, or maybe even just gives it to the side of Frank. And you had to feel like that should have been just a free kill. Not too sure what happened. I guess maybe there wasn't the damage. I think... Okay, so it looks like LeBlanc used her ulti? Okay, yeah, so she used ulti for dash and then didn't quite have the damage to back this up. Gemini as well, you know, maybe could have flashed one of these Qs, but it would be pretty execution heavy. Ultimately, though, it ends up being pretty important.
Yeah, fight breaking out now. Pretender, importantly, can join in 4 seconds with that teleport, but nothing happening yet as we see more of CFO and Frank staring each other down in the river.
It feels so hard to make something happen. It might just come from one of these hook supports who at any moment, you know, could make some chaos happen in this game. CFO, they're the ones that are looking to start up this dragon. And it looks like it's gone. Yeah, Hollow's on the top side, so this should just be picked up. Now it'll be 2 dragons to 2. So for our 5th game, I mean, it remains so competitive even now, 23 minutes in.
You're really looking at Pretender almost to be this carry now, and obviously working away at these side lanes. Now that Bloodthirster as well is completed, I don't think Rest really wins out in that 1v1 inside the Death Realm anymore.
Oh, another hook is almost connected, but doesn't quite. Nice chain there.
Eminem running into that chain of LeBlanc, but is okay for now. Tower goes down top, so that's more gold onto this Yone as he hits level 15, getting close to sort of a time where you're going to struggle to deal with him even more than already. As you see that Q barely dents the shield.
Yeah, it's actually just so tanky at this point with the combination of shield bow, overheal, BT, overgrowth. Just has so many extra stats here. And ball lane, I mean, Rez, he's been relatively quiet this game. Has himself a 50 CS lead and also a 2-level lead in the side lane, so despite not really being heavily involved, it's certainly making it work. It looks like he can maybe just ignore solo kill while he takes this tower.
Yeah, it looks like he is able to, and it will be this bot tier 1 going down, and we're really seeing the effect of what Mordekai's a counterpick can do into the Scion.
This mid tower is actually still up. Credit to Frank Esports managing to keep this alive so long, I think has prevented the game from really snowballing against them. It is the QSS tax paid here by Pretender.
Yeah, I almost purchasable actually for the Ophelio, so that will be a massive item spike. And you feel like for the side of Frank, you don't really want to look for anything until that's completed, because once that item is done, Eminem can honestly take over some of these fights if he positions well enough.
I think this might finally be the mid-tier 1 falling. And yeah, Eminem, he's really going to have his positioning cut out for him up against the Vi, the Blitzcrank, the LeBlanc. There's so many threats, but he does have the means to deal with them. There's himself a lot of lifesteal, the Flash and the Ghost as well. So that mid-tier 1 does finally fall. But Frank, they're the ones now pushing back. They're going to try to take some of this topside control, maybe even look mid. There are a lot of members grouped around here, even Pretender's coming down.
Hollow Nature's Grasp will be used, just trying to probably look for this tower, but Rest now going to get knocked up. That shield will dissuade any real damage from occurring. Jimmy now is going to dash down, but will distort back from that sapling, and yeah, advantage now really to CFO having that mid lane tower gone and just being able to open up the map that much more. We've already seen them have so much control over this sort of top side and middle area of the map, and now it's going to be even worse for Frank.
It is going to be really tough, yeah, to regain some of this back. 2 minutes on the next drag. IE must be pretty close, if not, yeah, must be completed, I would think, for Eminem here. And I Yeah, okay, so IE is completed for this Aphelios. Can pretend to get on the Yone before this next fight. I'd be pretty surprised. Is very strong already, though, and especially because he had to pay the QSS money, 1,300 gold. You know, he's a bit behind in terms of items, but it also makes him incredibly hard to deal with, and I believe the Vial is QSSable as well, although Hook does connect.
Onto solo kill, definitely not the best target, but Shun really putting out some damage on him, having that Lord's Dominance finished on Zeri. Now we're seeing a bit of dance towards the Baron. Dragon's still a minute and a half away. Pretender looking for some damage onto Rest, and honestly is doing it. That's quite a lot of damage coming out in such a short time from Pretender. Really starting to get a foothold in this game is this Yone.
Well, Slater, he's looking for something, but there honestly aren't that many hook targets this late in the game. Kind of feels like you're either hooking a full tank or someone who's just not actually relevant. If you can somehow snipe Eminem with it, would be very, very nice. 50 seconds on this next dragon. We're definitely at the point where anyone who wins this fight, if they win it, you know,
Eminem is going to get sniped and shut down to Rest. It's going to be full retreat mode now from Frank. Solo kill in the death round. It's going to be hard for him to ever get away. Going to come out to 5 more people. Does use the unstoppable onslaught, but doesn't quite get away. Shun having to commit the flash at least, but Eminem just mispositioning, getting caught by that hook, and leading to Baron lost to the side of CFO.
Yeah, crazy. I don't know how. I was just saying, you know, if Slater can hit him, it'll be great, but it seems impossible, but somehow managed to thread the needle, took him out, and Frank, they're going to try contest, but I'm not sure they have any business doing so.
Yeah, already at 2k health is this Baron, and it will be another hook, but Pretender finds a massive ult, does dodge out from the Vault Breaker as well. Jimmy looking for him, will find it on the back end, so a 1-for-1 trade ultimately around the Baron, but Baron is picked up from CFO.
And CFO with that, I believe, should even be able to get the drag. There are pings onto the drag by Frank Esports, but I don't think they can get here in time. I'm going to be forced away from it, so it will be third drag. The Baron and a 5,000 gold lead picked up here for CFO. Let's see how Eminem managed to get hooked. So has to know that Slater is around looking for him. Has a lot of vision on the bot side as well. Looks like he just passed way too aggressively up and just got hooked. Immediately blown up before he got to react at all. And you can't really afford that, right? You're so ahead here as Eminem. You've got 3 items on your Aphelios. You can 1v9 a team fight, and to lose it like that, oh, it must feel so bad in Game 5.
That's the third failed flash from solo kill this game as well. Oh, not looking good for the side of Frank, but honestly, well played by CFO. As we come back, I spoke too soon. Gemini has now died. They did pick up the dragon, though, while we were watching that replay, so probably a good trade ultimately for them, but losing 1 Baron isn't ideal.
Wow, look at the damage in that fight as well. The Aphelios unfortunately did 0 up against Shun's 5.5k. Quite a lot, obviously. Now, the Baron is mostly diffused, I think, with Gemini's death. Although still a minute on it, maybe they can look to at least break this bot tier 2. They're going to go towards it, but have to be quite careful, I think. Giving Frank a 5v4 is definitely not what CFO wants at this point. Now just going to keep pushing up the lanes, but recalls will come through, so it looks like that'll be Baron all done and dusted, at least for now. It kind of feels like they won't be able to do too much more with it. Though can Slater find another miracle hook like that? I would be pretty surprised, but if he can, definitely turn things around. Let's see how Gemini got caught out. So I guess queued forward and then just face check the bush with no one nearby. That's honestly very brave or very dumb, but either way, he is taken out. And that does slow down the Baron quite a lot. Oh, engage comes through.
Cease and desist now onto Hollow. He will be caught out and immediately eliminated. What can they get from this? 30 seconds is remaining on this Baron. Looks like top inner will be where they look towards, and you have to feel like they are going to get it. Solo kill yet again, struggling to deal with this Mordekaiser as he is actually taken to the death realm. Looks like he will be going down, but on the side, Jimmy is taken out by Eminem. So ultimately, this part will be a 1-for-1 trade, but still advantage for CFO. I want to know how Jimmy ever got killed there.
He must have just dashed in and got Yone ulted or rooted by Aphelios or something. And I don't think CFO will be able to get anything more off this. The Baron is expired.
Oh my.
So now I'm just going to back out. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Jimmy died. I think must have got rooted by Philios and Dionald or something. But with so many dashes, you wouldn't expect him to really be going down. Now, I'm not sure who picked up his shutdown. I guess it was Philios?
Yeah, it was Eminem.
Okay, I guess we'll have a look. Okay, so on the side, okay, he just actually got knocked up by the Q, so really nice play out of Pretender to find that. And then on the top side, I mean, Solokill, he's having a rough go of it. He's just stuck in the death realm taking damage. And
look at how many wards go down.
Yeah, it's very warded. You can get a nice little zoom in on it. It is the Infinity Edge for this area, not the Navori. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think that offers you more damage in general. It just means that you don't have the dash and the W up quite as often in these fights, but I mean, when you're against the likes of Sion and this Maokai, as well as, honestly, how tanky Yon and Aphelios are, it's probably more valuable to have that damage.
Okay, now Frank, they're grouping a lot on midway. Fourth Dragon is only 1 minute and 30 from now. So they're going to have to get a lot of control around this, but are they allowed to?
Okay, GA completed here by Eminem. He is so strong on this Aphelios. 4 items now completed for him, as well as the 4 for Zeri. She does probably have a bit more damage now and also has a stopwatch available, whereas Eminem has opted for that full Guardian Angel.
Ooh, I kind of like that, Slater, just checking that with the Q. Gemini doesn't want to repeat his previous mistake, wisely backs away. Has the stopwatch this time, though. And Fourth Dragon's only 1 minute away. CFO are the ones who have the pressure. Now, there is a Baron spawning at roughly the same time, so there could be some sort of trade that ends up coming out. And TFO, they're going to want to try and avoid that, make sure they can pick up both. Resets are going to come through, so this should be Frank getting control of the mid-wave. Maybe can even knock down this mid-tower. Do have to respect the fact that Pretender's currently stuck in the side lane. Jimmy, he's around.
3 stopwatches on the side of CFO is going to make this next team fight for Frank so difficult to pivot.
They have to be careful here, Frank. They're trying to regain this control, and they have the Maokai to do it, but it's not the easiest thing, especially with a Blitzcrank in the game. Solokill kind of the one that can tank all of this. Oh, he's hooked.
Hook lands onto Solokill as we see a fight abrupt, and it will be Solokill taken into the death realm yet again, I believe. Oh no, it's actually Eminem. Is he able to find the damage onto rest? GA will be procced as Pretender comes back. Cease and desist now used on Pretender. Eminem back alive. Will he be able to kite the Gemini out and find any kills? Bottom side, we do see Solokill in the middle of 4. Shun will find that kill onto him. Eminem still dealing with the top side. Is playing really nicely around these two. Will find one. Can he find more? Shun only just living, and it will be the team fight win here for CFO. Kaiwing going to go down to Jimmy on the side. 5-4-1 in favor of CFO.
The CFO, they're going to run down mid. Can they end the game? I would be surprised. I feel like Hollow spawns in time. Take a look at the damage. It's just so far overall in the favor of CFO. TP comes in. Maybe they're playing for it. It's only going to be Hollow alive. I think they might be able to. There's no Nature's Grasp for him. If they just keep pushing down, I don't think the wave clear is there. And I think in 35 minutes, as well as a reverse sweep, CFO are about to take game 5.
Yeah, here we go. It does look like they will be able to do it. And so after what looked like such a rough start to this series, CFO do find it in Game 5 and are rewarded with a trip to probably versing PSG.
The reverse sweep, though, how good does that feel? And on the other side, Frank, especially with how the series started, must be so distraught with how it ended. And I think overall, I mean, CFO, especially games 3, 4, and 5, they just play the team fights a lot cleaner, right? The team fights were just going in their favor, even maybe when they shouldn't have. And I do want to say that Frank, I think, you know, they did start off very solid and obviously fell off towards the end, but I would maybe have some questions around, you know, what happened to Solokill. Kind of all split long was playing so well on the carries, and then this split, or sorry, the series, they just abandoned carries altogether, right? You don't really see him on him, just constantly on the tanks, and it feels weird, right? Like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like you really got what you wanted out of that player, because Solikill, you know, has single-handedly won games for his team with the red side last pick, playing one of those carry champs, and just didn't see that come through at all. But, you know, congratulations there to CFO. Like you said, probably have to verse PSG. It'll be the winner of PSG or Impunity, which will be played tomorrow. And then the loser of this, Frank Esports, does go down. I think it's DCG.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So, favoured there. You'll have to expect to see them coming up through this losers bracket. I do think they are an insanely good team. I mean, you sure